Welcome to On the Prowl, Florida Panthers' first three games, recaps and analysis, episode 9. This is your host, Bill, from Florida Panthers Den. Hope everyone is doing well. First of all, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in the state of Florida who was affected by Hurricane Milton. My wife and I we had no power for 3 days, no phone for 3 days, and no internet for 2 days. Fortunately, those got restored. Thousands are still without power, so keep them in your thoughts and prayers that everything can get taken care of for them, and also those that really, truly need assistance can get it. All right. October 8th, it was the first game of the year for the Panthers, and it could not have gone better. And we're going to take a quick look here. Great day for the Panthers, and it was started, as you can see, by them raising the banner there, which was absolutely fantastic. And if you're so inclined, they do have miniature banners on sale in the team store on pucks. They have acrylic versions of them as well, so you can have a keepsake of that to take home. But the banner was raised that night, which was a pretty awesome sight, and it was great that it was actually covered by ESPN. That was very nice. We really enjoyed the opportunity to be able to see that. Now, the other thing that surprised us, and this was an after-the-game announcement, we were treated with the unbelievable surprise that Bill Zito pulled another rabbit out of his hat like he always does, and he re-signed Carter Verhaeghe. This just came out of the blue. And according to the article here, from what Carter said, this was done before the game. And the contract was very much to his liking. I believe there was quite a bit of bonus up front for that. It was structured very well. I think this is a great win for the Panthers. It's going to be nice to have Verhaeghe signed for another 8 seasons. This is great, and kudos to Zito for getting this done. Now, as we take a look at that first game, and I have to say this, it's a tale of two cities, and the reason I say it like this is that the Panthers were very fired up that night. I mean, there was no question about that. They were amped up for the game, and it showed every which way but loose. But also, on the other hand, it was a very uncharacteristic game for the Bruins. They really were kind of very flat that entire evening, and we'll get to more in a minute there. There were goals aplenty that night, great plays that night. Everything seemed to click, except with the exception of the power play. They looked very good. Now, I do want to say this: in the waning minutes, it was 6-2, and in the waning minutes, Boston got a couple of quick, meaningless goals in terms of the actual score sheet. But all in all, they did great here. Bartov has recorded an assist in 10 straight home openers. Bobrovsky collected his 7th career season opening win. 11 different Panthers recorded at least 1 point. Anton Lundell fired a team-leading 5 shots on goal. The Panthers led 30-18 in scoring chances at 5-on-5. Okay, it was, like I said, there really wasn't a whole lot to say that was wrong about this game. But the only thing, if you wanted to find it, was the power play was ineffective. But other than that, everything really seemed to click. Line combinations seemed to click early on, first couple of periods, and most of the third. Bobrovsky was okay, except for that last 5 minutes. And I think the whole team kind of went on cruise control for those last 5 minutes, and that's why they got those couple of quick goals. Also, a side note too, and I really think I mentioned this on another podcast, that I think a large part, I think Boston was very distracted. And I think one of the reasons they were distracted was a contract situation. I think that really took away a lot from the team. I think it really affected their play that night. They were definitely not in focus. It was not the team that the Panthers played in the playoffs in 2023-2024. I can tell you that right now. They were a very different team. But I expect them to rebound, and we're going to talk about it's actually the Panthers' next opponent on Monday. So we're gonna come up and talk to that in a minute. But all in all, it was you couldn't have asked for a better season debut at home, raising the banner, a great win against the Bruins, a decisive win, and also re-signing Carter Verhaeghe. It really, everything just absolutely, positively flowed perfectly for the Panthers that game. And then they did have a practice the next morning, and I believe they went up to Ontario right after that practice. Normally they were going to delay that, but I think because of Hurricane Milton, they decided to get on their way sooner regarding that. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at game 2 here. Okay, we're going to talk about the game against the Ottawa Senators. The Panthers lost that game 3-1. And I was going to say in the second and third period, I was pretty impressed with the way they played. I thought Bobrovsky was pretty sharp that night. I thought he was a little more sharp this game than against Boston, especially those couple of lackadaisical goals he gave up near the end of the game. Ottawa blocked a unbelievable amount of shots, and I believe as you go down into the stats here, the Panthers had 30 of their shots blocked. Now, Ottawa blocked 30 shots for the Panthers that night. They were getting shots on goal. Their goaltender was absolutely fantastic that night, picking him up from Boston. He did a fantastic job in net, and I think he's gonna kind of a little bit of a resurgence. Of course, you have to realize too, this was Ottawa's home opener, so they were a little amped up as far as that was concerned. I'm hard pressed to find a lot of faults with this game. I thought line combinations worked well. I thought they looked good, and especially the second and third period, I saw a lot of things click. And I know Maurice, I heard that in a statement as well too. Right near the end of the game, Sasha Barkov was trying to prevent a empty net goal, and unfortunately, he slid awkwardly into the boards. This was a picture from the play. He slid awkwardly into the boards and needed assistance getting off the ice, calling it a lower body injury, and he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks. He's probably not going to be back until November, which, of course, always, I mean, when you lose your captain, when you lose someone who's so vital as to the team as Sasha Barkov, you're gonna have to adjust, and you're gonna have to make some quick adjustments here. And I know Maurice can do that, and I know the team has rebounded without him in the lineup. And unfortunately, it's just something that it's part of hockey and it's part of sports, is you have to adapt and work around these injuries. And I think the Panthers, normally they do a good job of this, all right? They were heading off to Buffalo for their next game. I think they'll do well. They have some good pieces in place. All we'll really be missing is Barkov, so I think we'll be okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the recap from that game. Now, unfortunately, this was anything but the Panthers game. They had just some glimpses of playing well this game, but unfortunately, they were also hit with a two-edged sword. Matthew Tkachuk was out due to illness this game. So that really, missing Barkov and missing Tkachuk, really put a big kink in their game plan that night. Maurice had to do a lot of adjustments. And now, we've seen it before with both of them out of the game and the Panthers making adjustments and playing good games. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case against the Sabres. The Sabres came out. They were ready to play. Knight was in goal during this game. And unfortunately, on probably the third and fourth goal, he really didn't look very good at all. Now, taking into consideration, he hasn't been at the NHL level for 2 years, and he did play in one of the exhibition games, and he did lose in that exhibition game this year. But just giving him kind of the benefit of the doubt for this game, which I'm going to do. I hope Maurice starts him sooner rather than later again, because it's important for him to try to bounce back from this. I think if he has any more faults, I think we're going to see a flip-flop, and Drieger will be back again, and he will go back down to Charlotte. He prevents those third and fourth goals, the Panthers have a chance to win that game. So, you need to keep those kind of things in mind. Maurice having to juggle the lineup like crazy and do these line combinations doesn't bode very well for, cohesive structure, good flow, good ice time. But a lot of the guys that you wanted to get ice time did get ice time during the game in Buffalo. With Tkachuk having his illness, that maybe, some of the other team members may have been affected by it, but weren't as ill as him, because the play was a little on the lethargic side last night. There wasn't a lot of jump to their step. Forechecking wasn't really there. Chasing after loose pucks wasn't there. Although on one, there was a crisp and nice passing play. And I did outline that on Florida Panthers Den on Twitter. That was a great tic-tac-toe passing play for one of the goals. It looked good. Pretty much with the exception of that, they just kind of seemed flat that night. And maybe it may be true that some of the other ones may be ill as well. We don't know. I think that's part of, having to deal with things. And a lot of teams have to deal with this. I know several years ago, some other teams had to deal with illnesses. I think I recall maybe a couple of years ago, the Penguins had most of their starters were out of the lineup, and they had to call a majority of their AHL team from Wilkes-Barre Scranton up to play that night because they had either, I think it was food poisoning or a flu bug or something just swept through the locker room, and it was pretty incredible. But again, these are ups and downs and flows with the team through the year. This is going to happen. Sam Bennett won 61.5% of his faceoffs. Patrick Giles made his NHL debut. Nico Mikkola blocked a team-high 3 shots. The Sabres led 14-4 in high-danger shot attempts on 5-on-5. Spencer Knight made 5 high-danger saves on purenaturalstartrick.com. Now, this is a reminder for Monday, October 14th. The Panthers have a special start time at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. Of course, this podcast debuts on Monday, so be aware of the very special start time for the Panthers at 1 o'clock Eastern time against the Bruins. They're up in Boston. They will be back to sunrise later this week. So all in all, well, and I believe they have a back-to-back game on Tuesday. They go to Columbus for Columbus's home opener, which I think it's going to be a very emotional home opener for the Blue Jackets, as they remember Johnny Gaudreau, and of course, Matthew Tkachuk was great friends, lifelong friends with him as well too, from their playing days in Calgary. So that's going to be a very hard game, I think, for the Blue Jackets, and very emotional for a lot of them. But I'd like to see the Panthers rebound strongly against the Bruins here on Monday. I'm very hopeful that on Monday we can see Tkachuk back in the lineup and that he can infuse the team with some energy, because, again, they looked rather flat against Buffalo last night. It just wasn't there. That wasn't a game that they were going to win. It just didn't seem that they had it all together. And I'm also hopeful, too, that within the next few weeks, Maurice gives Knight another start, hopefully with Barkov back in the lineup, to see how things flow when he has a good crew playing in front of him and a set crew. So it remains to be seen. Too early in the season, and you got to remember something. Last year in 2023-2024, the Panthers started out the season 1-2. And a lot of people don't remember that. And a lot of people are doom and gloom. It's way too early for any of that. And I think a lot of people need to realize that this is, as I always say, a NHL season is like a marathon. It's not a sprint, all right? And you have to plan for the ebbs and flows throughout the season, and of course there will be them. The Panthers are, in my estimation, one of, if not the best team in the NHL, the way they do things, when they're on track. They were obviously not on track last night. I thought they played better in the Ottawa game, to be honest with you, than last night. Of course, Barkov and Tkachuk were in the lineup then, and they weren't in the lineup last night. I know, and a lot of people have said, that how important that is, and it is. You can't underestimate the importance of having them in the lineup. So again, the next 2 games coming up, they're going to be playing Bruins tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a special start time, and then on Tuesday they're going to be in Columbus for the Blue Jackets home opener. Like I said, that's going to be very emotional for the Blue Jackets, and continue to remember the Gaudreau family in your thoughts and prayers. It's just unspeakable what happened to them and what they've had to go through. And later in the week, on the 19th, this is a reminder for those of you in the Central Florida area in Brandon. We're going to be holding a watch party at 5:30 p.m. at Bubba's 33 in Brandon, Florida. Wear your Panthers gear. They're going to get a TV set up for us in the bar area. I'm going to give away swag to everybody as long as supplies last. And also going to have a couple of door prizes, have a couple of T-shirts, nice T-shirts, and a couple of glasses or mugs, your choice, Panthers, of course. Great way to start the season. We're going to have these once a month. So stay tuned on Florida Panthers Den on all the forms of social media, out on Twitter, Facebook group, Facebook page, Instagram. We're all there. And I did post some notice and information regarding this watch party as well. If you have any questions, email me at FloridaPanthersDen@gmail.com. As always, guys, remember, it's a great day for Florida Panthers hockey. Time to hunt.